Good afternoon, guys. I remember hearing a while ago that on the other side of fear is freedom. And this is so true. I have seen and felt this in my life, and I continue to experience this every single day. Even when I look at this, getting in front of the camera and sharing videos with you about my thoughts, feelings, and things that I know or feel could help you, it is not easy, but that's where determination steps in. That's where that energy, that spirit, that drive that we all have within us to face our fears and keep going every single day, choice by choice. And I can tell you, it is working. It's not easy, it's very difficult, but it's possible. And it's all about going after and attacking our fears. And on the other side of those fears is the freedom we're looking for. Have a great afternoon, everyone.
I think we're living in such an amazing time right now. I mean, if you are not being challenged in some way in your life, you're not alive. And all of this is an initiation. And I don't believe that you have to go to any school of ancient wisdom perched in the Himalayas or for information or training any longer. If you see your life as the school, as the initiation, then you can no longer be a victim to your life. You're going to have to meet the challenges in your life from a greater level of mind, greater than the mind that created it. And so there have been plenty of peer-reviewed articles on the power of peace-gathering projects that lower crime, that lower trauma incidences of death and economic growth. It's all related to what's happening right now for us. And it's not enough, though, for us to just focus on peace and expect the world to change, because in the peace-gathering projects, when the event was over, a lot of the crime and violence returned back to its ceiling level again. It's more important for us not only to embody that peace and feel it, but then to demonstrate it. And when we begin to demonstrate it, I think we give people permission to do the same. That means that we can't be preaching peace and then be stuck in traffic and, flipping people off or arguing with your coworker. You don't get to stand up for peace if you have conflict in your life. So when we start that self-contemplative process of looking within, and instead of judging someone or something, look to see if there's an aspect of ourselves within that person or within that situation that we may need to change. And if we're all doing that at the same time, something greater, a greater consciousness is going to emerge. And so I believe that it should never be about a person. It should be about principles. And when we stand up for principles, that creates community. Because you could be one belief or another belief, but if you're sharing the same principles, which are joy and freedom and cooperation and connection, that's what builds communities. So then, everything in our world right now is reminding us of separation. Whether it's war, whether it's violence, whether it's political deceit, whether it's prejudice, all of those things cause us to live by those stress hormones. And when we're living in that state of survival, we're not trusting, and we become more selfish. So then, starting our day asking ourselves, what would be the greatest expression of myself I'd like to present to the world? And then making the choice to not get up until we are that person, I think that begins to demonstrate greatness. And when there is adversity and when there are challenges in our life, the question, of course, becomes, how do we become supernatural? And that means we're going to have to do what feels unnatural at first. When everybody else is in poverty and lack, that's the time to give. When everybody else is in fear and vigilance, that's the time to show courage. When people are angry and hating and prejudiced, that's the time to show compassion. When people are competing to rush to get to the top, that's the time to change your energy and draw the experience to you. And if you keep doing what's unnatural over and over again, sooner or later, you're going to become supernatural.
You have to decide whether you are going to live an intentional or accidental life. Do you want to live an intentional or accidental life? Most of the world lives an accidental life. Most of the world, they wake up. What do you do when you first wake up? You check your phone, right? You set some alarm because you have to drive to some job that you hate. You check your phone, and immediately there's all the crisis out there, all the expectations on you, all of the fears and judgments, all of the tasks that other people have set for you. You wake up like an accident and start living according to other people's demands for your time. You've already lost complete control of your day. What if, though, you swapped it and said, I want to live a more intentional life? What does it even look like? What does an intentional life look like? Well, I think it starts with a value. If you were to think about what is your most important core value, what would you come up with? Right? I've written 2 books on it. Your one word, Built to Serve, back there. You can figure it out. Mine is believe. I want to spread more belief in the world. What is your most important core value that you want to organize your day around? Instead of responding to other people's emergencies and losing complete control of your day, how about we organize with intention for how we want to show up today? Okay, well, that sounds great. So how do you do it? Well, I'm going to give you a couple of tips that I use in my life that I think can be valuable for you. Number 1, your morning routine is so critical. You've heard it over and over and over and over again from multiple people. Morning routine, morning routine, morning routine. What's the difference between a incredibly powerful morning routine that allows you to be supernatural and do the things that are beyond your comfort zone and are not by default in you yet, versus just a regular morning routine? The difference is the feeling. This is what most achievers miss. Okay? Most of the world doesn't have a morning routine with intent. Most of the world wakes up, falls into their day, responds to other people's emergencies, hate their life, hate their day, look back on the week that just happened. If you ever felt like you've put so much work into this week, right? You look at the end of the week, I worked so hard this week, but I got nothing done. You ever feel that way? Why? Because you're responding to other people's emergencies instead of actually doing the thing with intention that you should be doing. Okay? So the purpose for achievers of a morning routine is to get the feeling. The goal is not just to wake up and do your workout or do your meditation or do your prayer or whatever the thing is that's on your list, right? We're great as achievers at checking off the boxes, right? Check, 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 check. I did it. Awesome. Pat yourself on the back. You feel good for checking off the box. But if you do not feel bold, powerful, confident, courageous, belief in yourself to start your day and have a great day, then your morning routine is not working for you. More important than the task you get done is how you feel about yourself and ready to start the day. Some people, what they need to do is actually tweak their morning routine. And some people, what they need to do is, this is more likely the case, you actually have a good morning routine. You're just not doing it with the right focus and intention because you say that you're going to watch a video to get inspired. Great, perfect. But while you're watching a video, you're brushing your teeth and you're making your lunch and you're preparing your coffee and you're doing a million other things. So you can check the box to say, yep, watch the video, but you didn't get the feeling. And so it doesn't count. You need to feel bold, courageous, powerful, belief in self, ready to start the day and have an amazing one, or you have to go back and fix your morning routine or do it again. Starting your day to have intention, to do crazy, new, amazing, big things. It begins with a powerful morning routine, okay? Number 2, look at your calendar and think about how do you want to show up today? The most important part of my morning routine, I'll wake up, I put on some music. Usually the first thing I play in the morning is oldies. Play some really, I don't know, the oldies just get me going in the morning. Any song that kind of gets you moving, gets you flowing, gets you out of your state, because we all wake up kind of tired, lines on your face, etc., right? But then what song can you put on? Because it's the fastest way to change your state. And then I look at my calendar. I look at my calendar and ask myself, how do I want to show up for today? Instead of having a bucket list, I think your bucket list is your excuse list. things that one day you're going to get done. Forget that. I'm getting stuff done today. You're getting stuff done today. Your bucket list should be in your calendar. You're working towards actually achieving things. And so look at your calendar for today. Look at your calendar for the next week. How do you want to show up? So this morning, I wake up, I put on my oldies, and I'm looking at my calendar. And this is a Tuesday for today, and I'm filming YouTube videos on Tuesday. Tuesday is a day that I film my content. So how do I want to show up? I want to show up present. I want to show up and make some of the best videos I've ever made. I may not achieve that objective, but it's my goal. It's my intention to show up. It's less important like, did you get the result today, and more like, are you proud of the effort that you showed up today? I don't want to focus on team. I don't want to focus on emergencies in my email. I don't want to focus on social media. I don't want to delay and procrastinate. I want to get content out for you guys. Believe Nation, let's go. I want to show up even though I'm just standing on my trampoline alone by myself in my office. I want this message to reach millions of people. That's the intention. That's when I wake up, I got my oldies playing, and then I'm looking at my calendar and say, this is how I want to show up. Most days, I don't remember what day it is when I wake up. I had no idea that today was a Tuesday when I woke up. I put on my oldies, I look at the intention, ready to go. That does not have to take a long time. This doesn't have to be a 2-hour morning routine. You could be great at it. You're just not going through the actual exercise to ask yourself, how do I want to show up today? So look at your calendar. It's a good exercise. Think of what's coming up in your calendar today, what's coming up for the rest of the day before you go to sleep. How do you want to show up? How do you want to show up in your business or at your work? How do you want to show up for the people that you work with? How do you want to show up for your family? How do you want to show up?
You want answers, nuggets, data, wisdom. Give me all.
Because when you set that morning routine, right? Step 1, create a powerful morning routine that makes you feel bold, confident, powerful, alive, belief in self. And 2, as a part of that, having the intention for how you want to show up. Imagine if every day for the next year, you did just those 2 things. Powerful morning routine that makes you feel bold, powerful, courageous, right? And 2, you set an intention every morning of how you want to live today. Whether you achieve it perfectly or not, but you did that every morning. Imagine how much different your life is 1 year from today. Just by doing those 2 things. It's transformative. And then step number 3 is in between the activities during the day, remember your intention. I have a background on my cell phone. It says, remember your intention. So anytime I look at my cell phone, it's remember my intention. Remember your intention. Remember your intention. What was my intention this morning? Belief. I want to spread more. I want to make amazing YouTube content, amazing videos for you guys. Believe Nation. Remember the intention, because no matter what happened in the morning, you might forget it. Come noon, come 2 o'clock, come 4 o'clock, come 6 o'clock. You need the reminder of your intention. So I have it on my cell phone background. The other thing that I do is I will book things in 25 or 55 minute increments. So if I'm filming blocks of content, if I'm doing meetings with people, if I'm doing training events or seminars, there's always a 5-minute break from when I stop one activity to when I start the next activity. And one reason for that is just to make sure if there's any technical issues or one thing runs late or et cetera, I have a little bit of a buffer. But the more important issue is that it allows me that little window to reset the intention for the next thing. So especially if you're switching tasks, you're coming home from work and you're going home and you're gonna see your spouse, you're gonna see your kids, or you're switching from one meeting to a next, you're switching from a meeting to making a video, or switching from video to writing your book. You're switching between tasks. Give yourself a little 5-minute window to just remember the intention again. It totally changes how you show up as a human. If you are going from work to home, even if that's my studio here is in my home, right? Even if I'm going from here to outside the door, if I give myself a 5-minute break in between activities, from stopping filming to then going and hanging out with my wife, and I ask myself, remember your intention. What was your intention for today? Okay, belief. How do I bring that to Nina? How do I bring that to my relationship? Even though I've just made all these videos and my head's going a mile a minute and I'm so excited for all the content that we're producing and making and launching. Amazing. how do I now show up for my relationship? Just that 5 minutes, it doesn't even have to take 5 minutes, but just asking the question resets the priorities, takes you off of living on autopilot and living in intention. It changes how I show up to when I'm going to go out and hang out with Nina. So do those things. Your life will dramatically change. Powerful morning routine. Set your intention every morning, and then have little breaks to remind yourself of what that intention was throughout the day. Whether it's your cell phone background, whether it's 5-minute breaks in between switching tasks. If you can decide that you want to stop living an accidental life, stop living a reactionary life based off of other people's priorities for your time, controlling your agenda, put up a little bit of defenses and walls to say, no, this is my time. This is my life. I'm going to start living it with intention. You do that, everything changes. I promise you. Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there.
The way we work has changed. Our teams are now, well, everywhere.
I believe you can fly. Come and dance with me in my world tonight. I believe you can dream. Would you like to live in my magazine? Tell me what you want, give what you feel, enjoy what you do. Tell me what you need. Don't look back, live strong. Dance together everywhere I go. Open your mind and feel free. You love this world 'cause this party just begins. Fight for you, don't give up. Come with me and live in my magazine. Tell me what you want, give what you feel, enjoy what you do. Tell me what you need, don't look back, live strong. Dance together everywhere I go.
Legs crossed, back straight, eyes closed. Breathing in through our noses and out through our mouths. Feeling the power of you controlling your breathing. Knowing, remembering, it's the same power we use to control our thinking. Now use that power. Use your determination to see in your mind today your best effort in all the exercises, stretches, movements we do here together. See it in your mind right now. See yourself doing the best you can, giving the best effort you've ever done for anything. Maybe you want to visualize the last time we did these exercises and stretches together. Go there and think right now about what you could do better or differently this time. It's the same process we use to grow our minds and grow the strength and health of our bodies and energy. All right, good morning, determination. How's everyone today? Another day in the gym of life. Wherever you are, if you're at home, outdoors, indoors, let's go. Let's make this the best gym period ever. Here we go. All right, when I say go, we're going to start jogging on the spot. But for now, if you would like, just to slowly warm up, you can walk on the spot or walk side to side. Okay, so walking on the spot first or side to side, wherever you are. When I say go, we'll start jogging. Ready, and go. Again, remembering our breathing. Always controlling our breathing as best we can. And focusing on the movement of our body right now. The awareness of what we're doing. The awareness of being here together right now, united in the gym of life, always, wherever we are. Keep going, everyone, keep going. A few more seconds to warm up our bodies. Feel the power of your heart beating faster. Your breathing wanting to change and go faster, but you get to control that breathing. Always the way we control our thoughts. And stop. All right, everyone, walking. Just gonna walk side to side here. You can do the same. Remember to always move safely within the space that you have. Continue to take deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. Feel your heart, your breathing, all coming back to the previous state before we started jogging. All right, everyone, and let's start doing our stretches. Let's do shoulder rolls first. Here we go. Roll the shoulders forward 10 times. Big shoulder rolls all the way up to your ears as much as possible and all the way around. Let's do 10 forward and then 10 backwards. Feeling that tension and then that release as we come around. All right, let's go backwards. Feeling the joy of being able to move our bodies, to release some of that tension, maybe that tightness we might have. So important that we work on our bodies and our minds every day. As we work on one, we work on the other. All right, arm circles forward, everyone. 10 forward. Here we go. Slowly, all the way up and around. Excellent. All right, and backwards, everyone. Again, feeling the joy of your arms moving through space. You controlling your physical body. All through the most marvelous supercomputer in the universe, your mind. All right, good. Hands on your hips, everyone. Bend your knees and side stretch. Let's do 5 on each side. All right, excellent. Okay, let's twist our bodies now. Twist. Again, 5 on each side. Feeling the joy of moving our midsection of our body. Just the middle point of our body. All right, excellent. Okay, let's do 5 push-ups, everyone. Our best 5 push-ups. Here we go. All the way down, all the way up. The best you can. All right. And 5 sit-ups. Best 5 sit-ups ever. Here we go. All right, and stand up, everyone. Let's do 5 squats. Here we go. All the way down, all the way up. Down. Looking straight ahead. Feet flat on the floor. Excellent. Let's do 6 lunges, 3 on each side. Alternating legs. Arms out. Back straight. Good. All right. 10-second plank, belly's knees off the ground. Hold it there for 10. Excellent job, everyone. Okay, stand up and reach for the ceiling or the sky, wherever you are, on your toes. Here we go. Reaching and holding it there for 10 seconds. Again, feeling your body, every part of it working to achieve the goal of holding this for 10 seconds. Excellent. And reach for your toes, straight knees. Go as far as you can. Remember, you may not touch your toes, that's okay. Reaching is the most important thing. Going for it. Doing your best without hurting yourself. Keep those knees straight. Excellent. And come on up. And let's balance. Grab one leg, bend the other knee if you have to, and hold it there for 10 seconds. Keep fighting to keep your balance if you have to. Keep thinking, channeling your thoughts to keep your balance. Excellent. All right, and switch. Again, pulling your leg back, feeling the stretch on the front of the thigh. Bend the other knee if you have to. Remember, if you lose your balance, you fall, you get right back up. Never give up, never stay down. Always do your best to get right back up. All right, here we go. Let's hug our knee now. Hugging the knee, pulling it up. Once again, thinking about what we're doing. Trying to find that balance point. Bend the other knee if you have to. Hold it for 10 seconds. And switch, the other one, slowly coming up. Again, find that balance. Feel your body working to find that balance. All right, excellent. Holding it for 10. Okay, and good. Let's sit down, everyone, and reach for our toes. Straight knees. Hold it there for 10 seconds. Again, thinking about our breathing. One great breath in at a time. One great thought in at a time. All right, let's make a V shape with our legs and reach for the floor as far away from our body as we can. Just reach. Reach as far as you can go away from your body. And reach for one side, hold it for 10 seconds. And good, the other side, 10 seconds. Again, if you don't touch your toe, it's okay, just reach. Reach, always go for it, always do your best. If you feel a pain though, make sure you come back a little bit. Okay, and feet together. Gently push your knees down with your elbows. Hold it for 10 seconds again. And always remember that breathing. Good air in. And bad air out. Good. And one leg forward, one leg back. Keep the knee on the ground. Go as far back as you can. Hold it there for 10 seconds. Alright, and switch to the other side. Again, keep that knee on the ground so you feel the pull on the front of your thigh. Doesn't matter if you're not all the way back with your back, it's okay. Alright, good. And roll onto your belly. Push the floor and look up at the ceiling. Cobra stretch. Here we go. Hold it for 10 seconds. Or look up at the sky if you're outdoors. Alright, and legs crossed again, everyone. Back straight. Eyes closed. Breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. And now, using our powerful imagination to see what we will do when that music goes on. I'm going to play some of my favorite songs today. For each song, I'm going to hold an exercise position. For me today, I'm going to visualize and see in my mind holding the lunge position for each leg for the duration of the first song. For the second song, I'll be holding the V sit-up position as long as I can, for as long as I can, but I will continue right to the end of the song. How about you? Play your two favorite songs, or two songs that change your energy state so you can be your true great self and motivate yourself. Or you can listen to my music, but whatever you do, see in your mind right now the two exercises you've chosen to do, or stretches, or movements, or dances, or something that you want to do to work on your body safely when that music goes on. See it right now, clearly in your mind, because you were born to do that. You were born to see it in your mind and make it real with your eyes open in the world. All right, here we go, determination, here we go. For me, it's lunge position, here I go. Try to keep my back straight, keep that knee off the ground. If you're doing the same, again, do your best. Hold it there as long as you can. I'm gonna try to hold this leg for half the song and then hold the other side for half the song. And if you want, yeah, clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth, as Pharrell sings over here right now. I think happiness is the truth. We were born to be happy, all of us, no matter what. For me, there's no greater happiness than working on my mind and body all the time, wherever I go in the gym of life. And I hope the same for you. But remember, you were born to be happy, to be free, to be peaceful, kind, and loving, always. I'm happy right now. I hope you're happy right now. Because if you can be happy now, you can be happy forever. Wherever you are, no matter what. All right. Whew. Let's do the other leg. Shake it out a little bit. All right, here we go. Don't let anybody or anything ever bring you down. You were born to be happy. That's up to you. Always up to you. No matter how hard things are, always remember your determination. Your power to determine, to make the positive, accurate, truthful, winning, loving choice. Always. To be good. To be your best for others, no matter what. Even when things are uncomfortable, like right now, this is getting uncomfortable for me. But I get to keep going. I get to keep using my determination. Because I'm happy, I love it. And I want happiness for you and everyone, the whole universe. And I pray for that every single day. Whew. Song's not over. I gotta keep going. Let's do the other leg. Let's do the other one. Yeah. Let's clap along, yeah. Happiness is the truth for sure. Here we go. And switch the other leg. There we go. Find that balance. Let's go, everyone. Clap along wherever you are. Happiness is the truth. Let's go. Thank you, Pharrell. You were born with happiness. You're made of happiness and truth. Oh. All right, I'm proud of your effort, wherever you are. Let's go.
Kira and Zach are collaborating.
All right, next song, everyone. Let's go. V sits for me. V sit up for me position. How about you? What are you gonna work on? Let's see. Whatever it is, do your best. Here we go. If you want to try what I'm doing, go for it. Let's go, everyone, together. If you got your own exercise, your own movement you're doing, go for it. It is a bright, sunshiny day where I am, right here, right now, doing this video for you, for all of us, for myself. I hope the same for you. But more importantly, I hope that it's bright, clear, and sunny, always in your mind, right now, wherever you are. Because that's always up to us. Oh, I love it. I love working on being our best in whatever we do. No matter how hard it might be, no matter how challenging. There should always be nothing but blue sky of thoughts in our mind. Clearness, clarity. We can do it. It's up to us. We were born to do it. To let those dark clouds pass, those thoughts, those negative thoughts. And remember the truth of what we are, who we are. Whew. I love it. I I can see clearly right now. I know I got more. Here we go. Song's not over. Let's go, Mr. Francis. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go, Nick. Here we go. Keep going, everyone, wherever you are. Keep going. Let's go. This is the best effort ever we're giving, right? The best effort, no matter what. The way we do this is the way we'll do everything. We fall, we get right back up. Still not over. Song's not over. Let's go. Keep going. We fall, we get right back up. Never give up. Never. Never give up until it's a bright, sunshiny day in your mind, and we've done the best to help other people with their mind. It's possible. All through your determination. Let's go, everybody. Oh, great effort. And here we are again. Legs crossed, back straight, eyes closed, deep breaths in through our noses and out through our mouths. The way we began. The way it all begins, always. Always with our thoughts. Our powerful minds, which are always subject to our control, no matter how hard it's been to control them. We know the truth, don't we? We saw it today in our effort. We see it every day in life, in the gym of life. We know that we have the power to determine what thoughts we will act upon, and therefore we also have that power to determine what feelings we will allow to flow out and through us. Because our feelings are ultimately connected to our thinking. And if we control our breath with our thoughts, we can always control our thoughts and therefore our feelings. To learn and to grow and to be mind healthy and mind wealthy, peaceful, kind, loving, free and successful in whatever we do, wherever we are, no matter what. That's why we are already, whether we know it or not, determined nation. A people, a nation that always has the power to determine, to think, and to be positively, undoubtedly, unwaveringly loving, no matter what. Great job today, everyone. I love you so much. Another great time here together. This is probably one of our last for the summer. I hope you enjoy every moment, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Whether you're in a classroom, at work, at home, wherever you are. Enjoy every moment. It's been an absolute pleasure to be with you, to continue growing our minds and our bodies together. But remember the truth, no matter what. Wherever you go, wherever you are already in the gym of life where you can always grow your mind and your body. I love you. Thank you so much for always helping me grow my mind and my body. And may today and everything we've done together, our time together, and wherever you are, with whoever you're with, may that always be an expression of who and what we really are. I love you, everyone. Have a great summer. I will see and connect with you as soon as the time comes. I love you all.
Will give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of.
You want answers, nuggets, data, wisdom. Give me
Of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there.
I have 3 kids, and I've raised my kids with these principles. And I think there are critical periods, Ed, where certain information is more understood, and certain periods where you can really advance a teaching or an understanding. But children, you know, their first 6 years of their life, they're very suggestible to information. And their brainwaves are just in a slower pattern, so they don't have any critical facilities or analytical facilities. So big boys don't cry. Little girls should be seen and not heard. Money is the root of all evil. God is mad at you. You're going to go to hell. So kids just take that all in without any filter, and that becomes the foundation of their personality and their identity. Then you throw in parents. They're 95% of the time running unconscious programs. Well, children have mirror neurons, and mirror neurons emulate behavior. So when you were feeding your kids when they were young, you took that spoon and you went like this. You didn't know you were doing that, but you were doing that, and they were watching you and you were watching them, and they were turning on the same circuits in their brain that you were turning on, just so they could model the behavior. So then you can't say to the kid, stop being an emotional basket case, because they're not listening to anything you're saying. They're observing behavior. So when a lioness takes her cubs out to hunt, they sit and they watch her. And when they're watching her, she's priming their brain. They're actually going to emulate her behavior. So as they start observing her, they start turning on the same circuits they will when they hunt. So they start imprinting it, right? So then with children then, I call it the fast path to enlightenment, because if you want to raise a great kid, you got to be the example. Yeah. And so, you know, there's certain principles with children in certain critical periods. You don't tell your kids when they're 4 years old, you create your reality, fix this, you know, they're not ready for that. But there are certain things at certain periods of time that are really healthy. And teaching children how to shorten the refractory period of their emotional reactions is so important. And simple things like a trampoline is a great way when a kid is upset. Just
change their state.
Let's go. Yeah, let's go.
Okay.
And they jump, and you jump with them. 10 minutes later, it's gone.
Isn't that true?
And so then you're teaching them that kind of emotional intelligence.
Gotcha.
Parents need to know that it's so important to understand to never rationalize with your kid when they're emotional. Why? Because do you want to hear anything when you're emotional, or do you want to be left alone? Because no new information can enter their nervous system that is not equal to the emotion that they're experiencing. It's not relevant. So then getting them past their emotional state and teaching them how to shorten their refractory period, and then timing.
Okay.
When they start getting ready for bed, and it's getting loving and it's getting quiet and they're settling down, get in bed with them and you lay there and you say, you know, I had a tough day today. I've been working on my frustration, you know, and I didn't do very well today. I got angry at a few points, I got frustrated, and I stayed that way for like 3 hours. And you just open the door for kids, and they'll say, yeah, you know, I was playing today. And they'll automatically say that, and I got so frustrated with my friend Paris, you know.
And I'll say, well, that's all right, that's normal, we all do that. But what I care about the most is that if you had another opportunity tomorrow in the same situation, how would you do it better?
Oh my God.
And then they'll say, well, I would do this. And then you say, really, if you do that, this is probably going to happen. So let's work on this together. Overcoming the old self allows us to become somebody else. And there is that period of transition.
Yeah.
I call it the void where there's just not a lot happening. And you just got to be able to keep going and continuously get to the end of your belief where most people stop. I just had a fabulous conversation with someone this weekend, broke through to the other side, and now there's so much magic happening around this person, but she's worthy now to receive it. And that is the key, because the universe only gives us what we think we're worthy of receiving. So we got to become initiated into this and understand that thousands of years of programming that says that we have to change things matter to matter, in three-dimensional reality. And it will take time, but to begin to connect to that resource called the quantum field and create from the field instead of from matter, there's a lot of unlearning that has to go on. I think this is a time in history where it's not enough to know. This is a time in history to know how. And if you rewind the tape 10 years ago, information was the thing that stimulated thought, stimulated new ideas. And as we learn new things, we make new connections in our brains. So as we begin to add new stitches into that three-dimensional tapestry in our mind, we're beginning to cause our mind to function in new ways. But the key then is to apply it, to personalize it, to do something with it. And 10 years ago, when I got in front of an audience and talked about the application, nobody wanted to step outside that philosophical, theoretical, intellectual realm, right? Because doing something means you're going to have to change something about yourself.
Painful.
Yeah, you're going to get uncomfortable, right? And I think we're in an age of information. And in an age of information, ignorance is a choice. And because of technology, we have access to so much content. And information creates awareness. And awareness is consciousness. And you can't have consciousness without energy. They work together. So there's an energetic change, I think, that's taking place in the world right now, where people are so informed that old models, old paradigms are beginning to break down, whether it's the medical model, or the religious model, the education model, journalism, the economy, politics. It's all beginning to come to the surface because something else has to come out. And I think that one of the things that people are realizing is that you don't have to be a Buddhist monk to do this, or a nun with 40 years of devotion. You just got to understand the formula. And just like any skill or anything you learn, you got to go from thinking to doing to being. You got to take knowledge, you create the experience, and if you keep doing it over and over again, you start getting a skill, or you start getting wise about how to do it. And you know that you know how to do it. If we teach a person then how to trade that frustration or that hatred for an elevated emotion, and they'll say, yeah, but it was my ex's fault, or I got betrayed by my partner in business. Yeah, we know that. Okay, so let's take your partner in business, or take your ex. Let's duct tape them, put them in a cannon, and shoot them to the moon. Now what are you going to do? Sooner or later, you got to reckon with yourself and change, right? So then teach a person then how to trade that emotion for an elevated emotion. Now,
Trade the emotion for an elevated emotion.
right, so you're going to give that up, and you're going to practice feeling gratitude, as an example.
Yes.
And the person says, well, I can't feel gratitude. And I say, absolutely you can, because you don't practice feeling it. You practice spending most of your time feeling hatred and frustration. So now it's going to take a little time to cause that heart of you to bloom, or your heart of yours to bloom. Once they're able to feel even the smallest measure of gratitude, where they start feeling appreciation, thankfulness, gratitude, it's emotional signature. When you get something, when you're receiving something, when something has happened to you, or when something is happening to you, you say thank you, because you're receiving something. So the emotional signature of gratitude means the event has already happened or it's happening to you. So the moment you open your heart and you feel gratitude, well, that emotion then is telling the body that the experience has already occurred. And the thought then can make it into the body because it's consistent with the thought. So now you're beginning to program the autonomic nervous system into a very specific destiny. And you got to maintain that modified state of mind and body your entire day, independent of the conditions in your outer environment, independent of your body's cravings of those emotions and habituations, and independent from time. And if you can, get ready. Because something weird or unusual, some synchronicity, some coincidence, some opportunity is going to land in your lap. And you didn't have to go and get it.
Yes.
It came to you. Now you're the vortex of creation. So if you say to me, well, I was feeling gratitude, but then there was traffic, or my coworker sent me a nasty email, then I would say, oh my God, you mean you're allowing your environment, your outer environment, to control how you feel and think? You're back to the unconscious program that you're the victim to your life.
You got it.
But when you start producing those outcomes in your life, you're going to pay attention to what you did inside of you, and you're going to believe more that you're the creator of your life and less of the victim of your life. We define reality with our senses, and I think that is one of the biggest illusions. So the fundamental question is, can you believe in a future that you can't see or experience with your senses yet, but you've thought about enough times in your mind that your brain has literally changed to look like the event has already occurred? Now, the latest research in plasticity says that's absolutely possible. And can you select a new possibility in the quantum field and begin to emotionally embrace that future every single day to such a degree that your body, as the unconscious mind, the objective mind, does not know the difference between the experience in your life that's creating the emotion and the emotion that you're fabricating by thought alone, to the degree that you begin to signal new genes and new ways to change your body to look like the experience has already happened. Now, the latest research in epigenetics says it's absolutely possible. Now, think about this. Every day, installing the circuitry, every day conditioning the body into the emotion of the future, that your body begins to change to look like it's already happened. Now, this is where it gets fun, because now you no longer have to go anywhere to get it. Now it begins to come to you. You become the vortex or the magnet to your destiny. So then people who come out of their meditation and they say, well, I just focused on my wealth, why isn't it there? Well, you're not that good. If you're asking why isn't it there, you're back to the old person again. Stay in that state for an extended period of time as an experiment, as the scientist in your life, to keep your energy connected to the dream of your future. And then see what kind of effects begin to take place without moving into impatience, without moving into frustration, without starting to analyze why it hasn't happened or when. That is the trap of defining reality with your senses. So you have the thought of your future and you don't see it, then you experience separation. But people who are practicing this work, they have the thought of their future and they feel the emotion of their future. They're still connected to it, right? So that takes practice. And it's just learning, like hitting a golf ball, hitting a tennis ball, dancing the salsa, crocheting, whatever it is. You gotta start out staying real conscious and learning. Then you get good at it and it gets to be instrumental. It gets to be fun. And that's what I want for everybody, that the act of creation should be a blissful, playful, ecstatic, loose, free process. And so I love the idea of people taking time out of their lives to prove to themselves that if they're defined by the vision of the future, then they're not living by the memories of the past. And that's where the unknown exists. So many people, the unknown is a scary place. So they don't see that future because they're used to seeing that future with evidence, with their senses. And you have to be able to get beyond that and stay in the unknown, stay in that discomfort, and then in that moment to begin to self-regulate. Like, oh, I'm starting to feel a little anxiety. Ooh, I'm starting to feel a little frustration. That's the defining moment where your body's going back to the past, because emotions are a record of the past. Or you go into routine again. So you catch yourself. It's a victory. And if you keep catching yourself, those victories add up. And it's not so much about your wealth or your health or your freedom or your new relationship. It's actually about who you become. We have research to show that 60 days of meditation, 5 days a week, will lengthen your life. The telomeres, the little shoestrings on the end of your DNA, get longer. That means your biological age is changing. So we have the evidence now to show people what's possible. We have brain scans that are so outside of normal that when neuroscientists see them, they're blown away, because the amount of energy that's in the brain during this transcendental moment is hundreds of times outside of normal.
Wow.
I mean, you can't make your brain do that. Something is happening to you, and that person's having a transcendental moment. And we now know that we can predict it, and we now know that we can induce it. I think, if everything starts with a thought. I mean, everything that you do in your life, you have to have a thought before you initiate an action, right? So if you believe that your thoughts have something to do with your destiny, like any great leader in history understands that, the first thing you have to do is you have to decide, are you going to be defined by a vision of the future, or are you going to live by the memories of the past? So I'll give you an example. Most people wake up in the morning and your brain is a record of the past. It's an artifact of everything you've learned and experienced to this moment, right? It's a memory bank. So most people wake up in the morning and they start thinking about their problems, and those problems are connected to certain people and things at certain times and places. And the moment they start turning on those circuits, those memories are actually causing them to think in the past. Every single one of those memories has an emotion associated with them, and emotions are the end product of past experiences. So then the moment they recall the event, or they recall some problem in their life, they start feeling unhappy, they start feeling discouraged, they start feeling anxious. Now, thoughts are the language of the brain, and feelings are the language of the body, and how you think and how you feel creates your state of being. So we could say then, most people's entire state of being when they start their day is in the familiar past. Well, if you live in the familiar past, then it makes sense you're going to create the predictable future. So what happens for most people is they get stuck in their biology. So think about this. Your body is your unconscious mind. It doesn't know the difference between an experience in your life that creates an emotion and an emotion that you can create by thought alone. So if you're living by the same emotion every single day, and those emotions are influencing your thoughts, and you can't think greater than how you feel, or feelings have become the means of thinking, you're thinking in the past. Your lens of the future is going to be colored by the past, so you can't see possibilities. So most people like to wait for crisis or disease or diagnosis before they wake up enough to see. Well, the challenge is that biology tends to be redundant. So if you keep thinking the same thoughts, and those thoughts begin to fire certain circuits in your brain, the nerve cells that fire together wire together, so all of a sudden you start getting hardwired, and those are the thoughts that you can think the easiest. At the same time, those thoughts produce chemicals called emotions, and the next thing you know, your body gets accustomed to living by the same emotions, and it could be guilt, it could be unhappiness, it could be pain, but at least it's familiar to you, at least you can predict it. So some people would rather cling to the familiar than take a chance in possibility. So for most people then, they say, well, I don't really see how my thoughts have anything to do with my destiny. Well, that's because 95% of those thoughts are subconscious programs, right? So you're not even conscious that you think those thoughts. So the first step to change is starting to think about what you've been thinking about and change it. And then when you begin to observe those thoughts, you're no longer the program, you're the consciousness observing the program.
Just simply by being an observer of your thoughts.
Right. So most people, though, when you do that, when you decide to really take a look, it's like lighting a match in a dark place. So you feel uncomfortable. So it's easier to turn on your TV, it's easier to play with your cell phone, to distract yourself from those feelings. Well, when you understand that change really requires becoming uncomfortable to a certain degree, and that's normal, that you're leaving the known and you're stepping into the unknown, then it begs the question, what thoughts do you want to fire and wire in your brain? Because your attention on those thoughts begins to reorganize circuitry, remold the brain. When you're feeling gratitude and your heart is open, you're broadcasting energy into the field. Now,
frequency.
A frequency. You lay the intent of the thought of your health or your wealth. That frequency can carry the thought of your wealth. It can carry the thought of your health. If you're suffering, suffering does not carry, that energy does not carry the thought of your wealth. It carries a different set of thoughts. So then we're teaching people how to self-regulate, because if you're going to believe in that future that you're imagining with all of your heart, it better be open and activated.
Right.
And you better know how to self-regulate. And you have to know the moment you disconnect from the energy of your future because of some circumstance in your life and you lose that feeling, if you're practicing it on a daily basis with your eyes closed, then the next level is to be able to open your eyes and do it right in the moment and be able to self-regulate and change the frustration from some experience in your life back to the energy of your future. Now, that requires great awareness and great effort. But if you have a community of people that are practicing this on a daily basis and they're connected to their future, because that's where their mind is, they begin to want the future more than the emotions of the past. So we've done enough measurements now, Louis, to know that we can teach people how to do that, and we have evidence that people can sustain it for 45 minutes to an hour. It's a skill now. They know that they know how to do it. So now they have brain coherence and heart coherence. Well, once the heart begins to become orderly and coherent, it acts as an amplifier and it drives energy to the brain. So now the brain is getting more energy once the heart is open, and then you're thinking a different set of thoughts. And those thoughts produce different chemicals for you to feel more of that. And here comes nitric oxide from oxytocin, and then all of a sudden your heart literally starts to swell. It literally begins to open up, and there's more energy going there, and now you're coming from a different level of mind.
You have to really begin to mentally rehearse. Like, so you ask yourself at the end of your day, I do this every day. How'd I do? How'd I do today, bro? How'd you do? Did you do good? Where'd you fall from grace? What was it that caused you to go unconscious for the rest of the day? Like, what was that moment? Now, if you're a student of life, you'll begin to contemplate, well, it was that person that said that thing, then I reacted, or I got this email, or things didn't go my way, and I started feeling angry or frustrated or fearful. The next time that happens, how could I evolve my experience? Now, you may have to search for some answers of the best model to build, or you may actually have a long contemplation and start to go, God, the next time that happens, I think I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that, or I'm going to plan my behaviors. And the act of closing your eyes and rehearsing what you're going to do begins to install the neurological hardware in your brain to look like you already did it. Now the brain is no longer a record of the past. Now it's a map to the future. And if you keep installing that hardware, the hardware will become a software program, which means you'll just start acting like a happy person. Why? There's no magic there. You installed the circuitry. So that's more important than the news.
Right.
It's more important than answering any email or any text. It's more important than talking about your past or some dinner. If you can begin to just think about how you're going to do it differently, that's the building process neurologically already. So now you have to get conscious in order to do that. And it takes some time. That means you got to shut your cell phone off. You got to close your door. You got to take a break from everything out there and begin to practice. And so by experience, then you start noticing, oh, here it comes the frustration, or here comes the fear. And now we've given people the tools to be able to self-regulate, to create brain and heart coherence. And so you see people say, excuse me 1 minute, I just need a minute. They take some breaths, they get back in, they connect to the energy of their future. This is incidental compared to where they're going. So they don't fall from grace. They don't allow their energy to drop. And so, in the beginning, it takes a lot, because it takes a lot of energy and awareness to stay conscious and not go unconscious. But if you're persistent and you're determined and you're sincere, you begin to figure it out. You begin to say, I am not going to give my power away to that person or that circumstance when I can use it to heal or to create a new future. And so people then won't excuse themselves and say, I had a hard day yesterday, I had a fight with my coworker or my ex, and I don't feel like doing the work. Well, that's the time to get back on the horse.
Yeah.
Because it's all of those times that we self-correct. Those are the most valuable moments to us. People who've had profoundly transcendental experiences where they
we say got lit up, they connected, and their brain goes into very, very high coherent states and super gamma patterns that are way outside of normal. And they have a transcendental download or connection that's mystical. They look back at their entire life. They don't want to change one thing in their past because it got them to that moment. That's the moment the past no longer exists. Now, by the same means, they look back at their past and they see all those tough moments where they overcame themselves and they fall in love with that person. They don't look at the good meditations or the things that went well. They know that it was those moments that got them to this moment. And I think then that's when they begin to understand that all of the hard work, all the effort in who we become makes, no one can take that away from us. So then once we arrive at that level and we experience whatever the dream is or whatever we create, the next thing is do it until you fully enjoy it. And then when it gets boring or predictable, let's go again. Let's do something else. Our research shows that when you get a community of people together, and they begin to open their hearts and they have the intent for the greatest good for people that they know or people that they could focus on, that our research shows that you can actually affect another person's autonomic nervous system when you move into heart coherence in a very non-local way. Well, what's the significance of that? Well, we have an amazing community. And our community is connected by these elevated emotions. Those other emotions of survival create separation. But we work to open our hearts and to feel connected. We can begin to affect people in a very non-local way. In other words, everybody else's hearts go into coherence at the exact same time. You, by opening your heart, strengthen your connection to this community. You strengthen the connection to the people that you relate with in your lives. The majority of our thoughts and feelings are connected to our sexuality, to our victimization, our guilt, our suffering, our shame, our unworthiness, our self-doubt, or our importance, our control, our fear, our anger, our frustration, our hatred, our judgment. Those are the first three hormonal centers in the body. And those first three centers have everything to do with survival. And those centers are energy consumers. Orgasm, digestion, stress is a lot of energy that we're drawing from our very vital life force, our resource of light and information, and we're turning it into chemistry, and we're literally robbing the body's energy, right? So then living like that for the short term is okay because the body can move back to homeostasis, it can restore itself, but when we're overdoing that consistently, then there's no energy for growth and repair. Because you're living constantly in survival. So again, you can eat all the right food, you can do all the right things, but if you're living in anxiety and fear and you're viewing your world from the worst case scenario that could possibly happen, because that's what you do in survival, there's no energy for growth and repair. There's no energy for healing. So the majority of our thoughts are signaling certain circuits in the brain that signal another part of the brain, the limbic brain, to make what's called a neuropeptide. Neuropeptides are chemical messengers that signal hormonal centers. So now you're taking thought and you're storing it as energy in these energy centers. And if you're living in survival, why would you open your heart? I mean, it's just not a time to open your heart. I mean, if you're getting chased by T-Rex, it's not a time to meditate. It's not a time to learn. It's not a time to connect. It's not a time to communicate. It's not a time to sit down and go within. It's not a time to be vulnerable. It's time to run, fight, or hide. And so,
is that why we're this way? I've never asked you this before. Is this some? I don't think you believe this, but I just want to understand. Is this some sort of genetic disposition that's been passed down to us since we've been chased by T-Rex?
I think so. I think survival has been very adaptive. Like, because if you're being chased by T-Rex, you don't run up to T-Rex and say, "Oh, cute little dinosaur, let me pet you." That's not adaptive. The fear is adaptive. You run from the unknown. You run from challenges, right? So if you're living in survival, there's better chances of surviving if you run from the unknown. And by the way, when you're living in survival at the infinite potentials in the quantum field, you'll select the worst case scenario in your mind. And you'll begin to emotionally prepare yourself for the worst case scenario because you have better chances of surviving.
There you go.
If you prepare for the worst, right?
There you
so
go.
People spend their whole life thinking about the worst thing and emotionally embracing it. While you take a thought and emotion or an image and an emotion, you're branding or conditioning your body into what? Anxiety, into fear. So then you keep doing that over and over again, the body becomes the mind of fear. And whether you think you can control it or not, you're going to have a panic attack. And the panic attack is the body saying, you've conditioned me this way. Try as you may with your conscious mind to control it. You programmed it subconsciously. Then you start worrying about the next panic attack, and it's that very anticipation that keeps the person on the hamster wheel,
and robs them of all of this energy as well.
They're absolutely so they don't believe in possibility when they're living in that state, because in survival, it's not a time to create. All the blood flow is going to the hind brain and away from the forebrain. There's no physiology really for a person to begin to create a new future. So think about it. So then 70% of the time, people in the world are living, anticipating the next moment based on their past moment. And so they're laying reality down moment by moment with the next known, the next predictable moment. And so the hormones of stress endorse the senses. Our senses become heightened when we're under stress, and we become materialists. We narrow our focus on the danger. So then you're focusing on matter, you're focusing on the material world. And when you do that, you put all your attention, the arousal of the stress hormones puts all your attention on your body. If you're being chased by T-Rex, you better be paying attention to your body.
If you believe that your thoughts have something to do with your destiny, that your thoughts create your life, let's examine the thoughts that you think. Now, you think 60 to 70,000 thoughts in one day. Out of those 60 to 70,000 thoughts that you think in one day, 90% of those thoughts are the same thoughts as the day before. So the same thoughts will always lead to the same choices. The same choices will always lead to the same behaviors. The same behaviors will always create the same experiences, and the same experiences always produce the same emotions. And those same emotions then drive our very same thoughts. And our biology, our neurocircuitry, our neurochemistry, our neurohormones, and even our genetic expression stays exactly equal to how you think, how you act, and how you feel. Now, how you think, how you act, and how you feel is called your personality. And your personality creates your personal reality. That's it. So then if you believe just the slightest bit in this idea that your personality creates your personal reality, and you wanted to change your personal reality, that means you'd have to begin to change your personality by thinking about what you've been thinking about and change it. You begin to become conscious of your unconscious habits and behaviors and modify them. And then look at the emotions that keep you connected to past experiences and decide if those emotions belong in your future. You see, most people try to create a new personal reality as the same personality, and it doesn't work. We literally have to become someone else. So reason this with me. A habit is a redundant set of automatic, unconscious thoughts, behaviors, and emotions that's acquired through frequent repetition. A habit is when you've done something so many times that your body knows how to do it as well as your mind. So if you're thinking the same thoughts 90% of the time as the day before, you're demonstrating the same behaviors 90% of the time, and you're embracing the same emotions as the day before 90% of the time, over time, you begin to fire the same circuits in your brain in the same sequences and the same patterns and the same combinations. Now, there's a principle in neuroscience that says that nerve cells that fire together wire together. So as you think the same thoughts that lead to the same choices, that of course produce the same behaviors that lead to the same experiences, that ultimately produce the same emotions, that in time you begin to hardwire your brain into the same finite pattern. Now that box in your brain, there's no literal box in your brain, but that finite signature ultimately becomes your identity. So then most people, by the time they're 35 years old, become a set of memorized behaviors, emotional reactions, unconscious attitudes, beliefs, and perceptions that function like a subconscious computer program.
95% of who you are by the time you're 35 years old is a memorized state of being in which you've done something so many times that your body now is doing it better than your brain. Every time you learn something new, you add a new stitch to the three-dimensional tapestry of your gray matter. And if you begin to think about what you learned, you're causing your brain to fire in new sequences and new patterns and new combinations. And whenever you make your brain work differently, you're changing your mind, because mind is the brain in action. So we could say then that new thoughts should lead to new choices, and new choices should lead to new behaviors, and new behaviors should create new experiences, and new experiences then should create new emotions, and those new emotions should inspire new thoughts. And that's called evolution.
Person's doing the vision board and they're saying, when I get my new car, I get my new house, I get my new relationship, then I'm going to feel so great. Well, then they're back to the program, waiting for it to happen for them to feel the emotion. They're believing their outer world has to change in order for them to feel better. There's no effect of drawing the experience to you with that way. So the person has to use those tools to get them into the emotional state for them to feel like it's already happened. Now think about this. If you get up from a creative process and you feel grateful, you feel a love for life, you feel a joy for existence, you feel a passion for the moment, you will not be looking for your future because you'll feel like it's already happened. It's the moment that we start feeling those self-limiting emotions that we feel separation, and then we start looking for it again. Well, then if you're waiting, you're not creating, you're in separation again. So then whatever it takes for you to move into a state of being. And what is a state of being? Thoughts are the vocabulary of the brain. Feelings are the vocabulary of your body. How you think and how you feel creates your state of being. So then if you wake up in the morning and you come back to your senses with a clean slate and you say, I don't feel anything. And you say, well, let me start thinking about all the problems in my life. Well, all those problems are connected to different people or different objects or things at different times and places. The moment you remember your problems, a memory is a record of the past. You're thinking in the past. Every one of those problems has an emotion associated with them. So all of a sudden you start feeling unhappy. You start feeling bitter. You start feeling frustrated. So now your body's in the past. So then most people then create a state of being that's connected to their past. And if they're in the familiar past, then they are going to crave the predictable future and they're going to fall back into routine. So then we want people then to get very clear on that vision of their future, however they do it, and begin to combine that clear intention with an elevated emotion. And the stronger the emotion they feel from the vision they're creating, the more altered they feel inside of them, the more they're going to pay attention to the pictures in their mind. And now they're remembering their future. And biologically, it's exactly the same as remembering your past. In fact, if you're not being defined by a vision in the future, it means you're making your past more real than your future. You're falling in love with your past. You're more in love with your past than you are with your future. That you're believing in your past more than you're believing in your future. When you get to that moment where you have that feeling, that's your compass, because that feeling is going to drive your behaviors. It's going to drive more of those thoughts. And when you feel that feeling and it's visceral, no person, no thing, no experience will stand in the way between you and that vision. And you will be initiated by the universe into wealth. You will be initiated into health. You'll be initiated into freedom. Those people, all those people that have healed themselves of all those different health conditions, they are so humble and so happy, and they feel so great that they would never trade this feeling because of what you thought of them. They've left that program behind a long time ago. They actually don't care how you think of them. They actually are so happy with themselves that they're no longer dependent on anything outside of them. Now, I think that's a really important moment, because
that's the moment we give people permission in our lives to do the same, right? And I think that more and more people are beginning to figure that out. One of the things about the global pandemic that I said to my staff and to my family the moment I heard how the circumstances in the world changed, I just said I refuse to be a victim to these circumstances. So a victim consciousness is when we allow something in our outer environment to control the way we feel and think. So if I say to you, Jay, why are you so upset today? And you said, oh, it's because of this person or circumstance. What you're really saying is something in my outer environment, some person or some condition is controlling the way I think and feel. Now, that's not the truth. That's just a response, right? So anything that controls our thoughts and feelings causes us to be victim to those things. And the stronger the emotion we feel to some circumstance in our life, the more we pay attention to it. And where we place our attention is where we place our energy. So we're giving our life force, we're giving our power away to that circumstance. And so I just made up my mind that it was a great opportunity to get into the cocoon. We've done an experiment, just 10 minutes a day, 3 times a day with 120 people, trading resentment, frustration, fear for gratitude, appreciation, and thankfulness, measuring their immune response. The chemical immunoglobulin A, your primary defense against bacteria and viruses, the best flu shot you'll ever get, lives innately within you. Turns out when you're frustrated, when you're impatient, when you're fearful, the immune system dials down because you're an emergency. It's that all your energy is going for some threat in your outer world. There's no energy in your inner world for growth and repair. But how do you turn that around? So then as people begin to open their heart, can that chemical begin to elevate? 4 days, 50% change in the 120 people. Their IgA levels went up 50% in 4 days. Wow. That's your body's immune system is now upregulating genes that are making proteins and immunoglobulins and antibodies that you don't need a flu shot. In other words, your inner state is greater than your outer world. So then just by doing that, we now know that your immune system is going to get stronger. By the same means, take 120 people or 50 people and measure 7,500 gene regulations. Okay? In 4 days, 2 genes that suppress cancer growth and tumors are activated and upregulated. The genes that stimulate stem cells to go to damaged tissues and repair them, upregulated. The gene for oxidative balance is upregulated. Anti-cancer, anti-aging, anti-heart disease, anti-stroke, anti-neurodegenerative, anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial. Just your body's naturally doing this. The gene for neurogenesis, the growth of new neurons in response to novel experiences and learning. This is 4 days. The gene switches on. The gene for more balance in the pituitary and the pancreas. The gene for the microtubules of the cells, the little fibers that respond to energy and frequency. So in 4 days, we now know that you can change your genetic destiny if you just practice the inner work.
If you want another amazing Joe Dispenza Espresso video, check it out right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
The hardest part about change is not making the same choice as you did the day before.